Check 1 2. Check 1 2. We want the blue snowball.
Check, check, check. Blue snowball mic. Blue snowball mic. Blue snowball mic. Check, 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 check. Check, check. Okay. All right. If everyone's got the image open in Photoshop, we're going to begin. Today we're going to go over a portrait, and now let's discuss quickly about portraiture, right? So in terms of painting, portraiture isn't about putting down every single thing you see. It's about choosing a focal point, choosing your composition, and deciding to push edges, leave edges, push contrast, leave contrast, push color, leave color. This is a portrait by Sargent. When I talk about losing edges, I'm referring to pull up a better color. I always use this like hot magenta color. Okay, losing edges. So these are the lost edges, where there's not really a line anymore. It's kind of blended away, and even here, oops. All right. And the sharpest points, the points of highest contrast, are right here. The eyes with the black and the white. And I talked last class about not using black and white except for your focal point. So we can kind of see what I'm talking about demonstrated in another artist's artwork. This is a portrait by Whistler. Lost edge. The hard edge. Lost edges. Lost edge. A little bit of a hard edge. So these hard edges on the sides here are being used to define the outline of the head, and then once you kind of get the idea that that's where the hair is, that's where the girl is, he doesn't really need to bother showing you the rest because the focal point's here in the face. And in terms of composition, we've got big shapes, and in any kind of portraiture, in any kind of painting, in any kind of photo, if you're a photographer, you know a little about this. You do print, you know a little about this. You do architecture, it's a little different, but it kind of works the same. Where you have a focal point, or you have like you have lines and shapes to draw the eye and guide the viewer. In this case, we got several big shapes. We have an inverted triangle, a couple more triangles, and then the circle, right? In composition, we're going to talk about making big shapes today, and then in today's portrait, we're going to start talking about big shapes. Shapes, triangle with a circle, a little bit abstracted. We get the idea. We're going to start breaking the image up into basic shapes today, and we're not really doing a portrait in the sense that we're going to be trying to recreate what we see in the photo today. So it's going to be more of a photo study. And the reason I call it a photo study is because you're kind of just training your eye and your hand to work together and identify shapes. Identify forms. Where is that? And start seeing proportions inside of the eye, outside of the nostril, bottom of the nose, bottom of the ear, top of the eye. All right, we're going to start breaking down the face of it, right? And this, typically the corners of the mouth, if our eyes are looking straight at us, they'd be right here in the pupils. Because we're not doing photography, we've got to just make decisions based on what we're seeing. And, let me close that. Decide what we like, what we don't like, and we can edit using our own judgment of where we want to push the focus and lose focus. So if I had this color here in this painting, and I come over, let me put that wrong brush. I have a hard brush. Let's say if I had this color and I had this hard edge right here, I'm putting a hard edge right next to my focal point. right? So right now, the more hard edges I put into the painting, the more I start losing my focal point. And now we're starting to see, it could be a stylized edge, it could be all hard edges, right? But I start losing where I wanted the viewer to initially look, which was the little girl's face, right? If I put in here and did all the little detail of the hair, each individual hair, we'd be focusing on all this mess instead of the main root of what we want our viewers to be focused on, okay? So let me close that too. I sent you 2 photos. There's this one, and this is a great example of losing edges and finding edges in photography. You know, it's just the focus is soft right around here. And they're really making you focus and unfocus where they don't want you to focus, right? So we're going to apply that to the portrait today, and we'll apply it after we recreate the photo. We can go back in and decide where we want the focus to be. Let me close that. So closing that one. So here's another option. So here's the other thing. We're going to work from grayscale, and that reason is that color is going to affect the values you see. So when you have bright colors, it throws off your perception of what's going on. So I can desaturate this. Yeah, here we go. Oops. And we start seeing where the light was truly coming from. So right here, the magenta light was brighter than this cyan light. And it's pretty dark on the shoulder, but if I boost the colors back up, you don't really read it as light and dark. You kind of read it as everything's bright. Everything's just lit up. So if you're working from a photo, if you're trying to practice and study, and you're starting out, start with grayscale, and then work your way up to color. Okay? Break it into 2 steps. And there's a way, in oil painting, this is a similar workflow, right? It's a similar workflow to oil painting. And certain oil painters, there's certain techniques where you lay down a base of burnt umber, and you couch your canvas with oil, and you sit there and you take off paint and you put on paint, and you make the base structure for your face or your portrait, and then you go back in and start putting in your colors, right? But you have your base structure in one scale from light to dark based on that burnt umber color. Let's cancel that. Let me close that. So, why did I choose this photo? I chose this photo because it's got big shapes, it's got hard edges, it's got some places where we can choose to lose edges, and it's got a nice high contrast where even if this is your first time doing this drawing and painting, you're going to be able to kind of mimic and see what's going on here. So let me shrink it down a bit. Not shrink it down, sorry. I'm going to... We're going to click Command A or Control A and select all. Command C or Control C to copy. Command N or Control N to create a new document. Photoshop's automatically going to put the data of that photo that you copied into this new document setting. So if you notice, it says clipboard preset. So when you copy an image on the computer, it goes into the quote-unquote clipboard, right? And I'm sure lots of you know what I'm talking about, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, the virtual clipboard is your computer's memory storing this data. So it's already got a preset to clipboard. That's good. Let's just name it Portrait, whatever you want to name it. Click OK. And then we're going to Control V, Control C, I'm sorry, Control V or Command V to paste. Right? We're just setting up the document to work from today. And we're gonna start painting too, but okay. It's erratic behaviors because I'm streaming. All right. Go ahead and do Command V or Control V one more time. you're going to have 2 layers in the layer menu with Al Pacino. Okay? You can do this with any photo, but I recommend a photo with high contrast when you're starting out, and just some nice blacks, nice whites to work from. All right, so next step. Now, depending on your version of Photoshop, you should be able to press C for the crop tool, and it's going to add these brackets to your canvas, right? Is everyone here? Okay, I'll wait a second. Do Pacino for now. Do you have the girl up? Yeah, I know you wanted the girl. But Pacino is a little easier to draw. I could have done I guess I could have gotten a really contrasted girl photo. It should be automatic too. Clipboard setting. Oh yeah. Stick the first. It's already on C, so if I had it on V, it's the arrow, but we click C for crop tool, and we're going to just, at this point, you've clicked C for the crop tool, grab one of the brackets, let's go ahead and increase this, we're going to go up with the canvas, see what I'm doing here? Hold shift while you do this. I'm sorry, don't hold shift. Just increase the canvas up a bit. Just stretch it up. Stretch it up so that you can fit another Al Pacino in here. If you know what I'm talking about. Press C for the crop tool, and it's going to put brackets on the side of your canvas. And let me know if you see something different. And we're just going to pull the canvas up, and it's just going to give us room to work, okay? Is everyone there? Yeah, you can do it to the side, you can do it up. Just gonna press enter to accept that change. And now press V. V is the move tool, remember? So we're gonna press V and go ahead and paste your image. You should have pasted your image twice, okay? Command V will paste an image. If it's just V, it's going to activate the move tool. And the move tool is just the arrow here. So if you have, what was that? Oh, no. If you got 2 layers ready to go, just grab the top image, just pull it up above. And we'll see what we're doing in a second. Just pull it on top so you have, and if you're cutting off the bottom image, go ahead and increase the canvas again. Just press C. Give yourself a little more room. Press enter to accept those changes. V to go back to move tool. And then just keep moving up until you kind of got like a little, if you got a little space between the 2 images, all right? Is everyone here? Does anyone need help?
We need help.
You're good? Okay. All right, Carl, you got it? So, we'll wait for a second. We'll just pause. So, like again, V to for the move tool, move your image up. If you're overlapping the bottom image, go ahead and just press C. Give yourself a little more room on the canvas. Press enter to accept those changes. All right, all right, all right. Let me know when y'all are ready. Command? V. holding for a second. We could take a look. Okay, so press enter to accept the changes. Alright. Now just do Command V one more time. So now you got two images.
Okay.
Press V for the move tool. And that just move them up. There you go. And just give yourself there you go. Perfect. Perfect. Alright. Yeah. Alright. Here you go. We're gonna do a little more stuff now. Press W. Just click W. Just don't do anything else. And you'll have the magic wand tool. The magic wand tool automatically selects all of a certain color. If you've used Photoshop before, you know how this works. So now I want you to select outside of the Al Pacino that you just moved. If I click that, it's going to select everything but the image, right? Because I'm selecting space. Everyone, tell me when you kind of just give a like I'm done or something. Chime in. Everyone good? Good? So you click off the image after pressing W, and it's going to select all the empty space. All right? Everyone good? Oh, what? So
Add a new layer into it, right?
yeah, so just press G for the paint bucket tool, D, X, and click on the back on it. Oh, you have the gradient tool on it.
So go down to the back.
So,
She
right,
told you
look
to
at
go
here,
down to the back.
hold this down
And
to
then
the paint bucket
make
tool.
your thing really small with the brackets. So it's a little white. And
White
then
now.
hit that. Now hit that. So now hit
It's like you
that.
gotta change the
Select
marker.
it.
Yeah. It's okay, we're not gonna actually use that. I'm just giving you space. I'm just giving you space to work. And I want you to have a workspace that's equal to the workspace below.
So which two have you guys?
So input accept changes. Okay. See that? So what you're doing is you have the crop tool selected still. So all you gotta do is press enter. Now,
So W space that's not there is circle.
Oh, there's like a.
oh,
Yeah.
so select the layer. So here, see right now you're on the background.
Mhm.
Scroll up this top one, click W, click off the image. W, or do you have W set something different? So okay, what I did is W is a magic wand tool, and you must have pressed Shift W, because when I do Shift W, it cycles through the tools.
Mhm.
And now on the magic wand tool, I'm just going to click off his image, and it's going to, I might need to come up here, hold Shift, click the top part, so I'm selecting everything that's not there. Okay?
Okay.
It's like
So you've got the same thing. If it's not if you press W and it's not the magic wand tool, press Shift W and it switches to magic wand. Okay? So here, deselect and just go to this image. Click, wrong. Deselect. Click here, and then I'll do Shift. Oh, you haven't got tolerance up. So move your pen. The tolerance feathers the amount of pixels. See, it's like just rounding. That's so you got the background is not him selected, okay?
on both of them.
No, it's only on this layer. See the layer? Background copy. You're only on that layer. Keep in mind you have to check your layers, right? So you always check your layers when you're working. That might be the issue if it's not working, if it's not selecting correctly, or if you're pressing W and you don't have the magic wand tool, it means you might have pressed Shift, you might have pressed W on accident. Press Shift W, and it'll cycle between two tools, and you'll see it on your. If I press Shift W, you're gonna see it. You see it cycling. One of them is literally a picture of a magical wand, and one of them is a picture of like a paintbrush with a little circle. You want the little magic wand. Okay? Is everyone here? All right. We're going to go down to this icon on the layers panel. Oh, that's really low. Let me move my thing up. There's this icon, the mask icon we talked about last time. It's a square with a little circle in the middle. All right? Click that. Did your image disappear? Okay. Now, just press Command I. Command I. It's going to invert the image, okay? He's going to reappear. Did he reappear, everyone? Yeah? Okay, so Al Pacino's there. So now, let me open this up so you can see a little better. Large thumbnails. Okay, so your layer panel, you have two little boxes. This box is the mask. This box is the image, right? So when you're working, always make sure you're on the right layer mask. Like you're either on the layer or you're on the mask. See? Right? You can all see that switching? Alright, so we're going to select Al Pacino, not the mask. And you'll know you got it selected because you'll see the colors up top. See these little color bars appeared? So if you just see black and white, it means you're on the mask. If you see Al Pacino, it means you got all the full colors, right?
I'm sorry, what was the command to get there?
You selected with the W with the wand, and then you clicked mask. He disappeared, right?
Yeah, I've got the everything but him selected.
Yeah, so just press Command I. Does he appear? Oh, see, so select the mask like I just talked about. Make sure you have the mask selected. Click on, oh, you have the mask on? Okay, so here, scroll down. So, can you go click that mask right there? There we go. Now, Command I, or Control I. There you go. So that's perfect. Alright, now, so you see what the mask is, right? The mask is that black square. You've got the mask selected right now. I want you to click the box next to it. Okay? Alright, is everyone at this point now, right? Yeah? Okay. Click Al Pacino. not the mask. Select all, which is Command A or Control A, right? If you want, you can go up to Select on the menu and click All. Select All, and it tells you up here. If I click Select, it says All, Command A, right? Any of those options can get you to this point. You've selected everything. Press Delete, and Al Pacino is going to disappear one more time. All right? Does everyone see what's going on? Is everyone there now? Okay, so all we did is we created a workspace that's the exact same size as the image below. Let me deselect, Command D or Control D to deselect. Press V or B. Press something that's not the crop tool or the magic wand tool because you're going to get frustrated. So I have my brush open. Because no, we have a mask set up, right? So now if I start painting, it's not going to allow me to paint outside this box, right? And the box we just made is the exact same size as the picture below us. So that's what I've gotten you all to do. I've got you to set up a little area to work in, and it doesn't let me go outside the edges, basically, right? The reason I've gotten you to do this is that we're going to use, so this little portion of the canvas is going to be where we're going to start working. And we'll start by pressing I. You can select the eyedropper tool. You click the gray behind Al Pacino. You got the gray selected. Press G. You should still be on your top layer. You got this layer here with Al Pacino. In fact, you know what? Let's click the layer with Al Pacino and let's just put the lock on. That way we don't accidentally start painting on that layer. And that's the whole reason we have the lock feature, remember? So let's go back to the very top layer. If you're not on the top layer, it's not going to let you paint because you just clicked the lock. So that's how you know that you're not in the right layer. All right? you go. So you have the background gray. Select the gray from the lighter side. Don't select this dark gray, okay? We don't want to select that. We want to select this light gray. Press G. Click your canvas, and it should fill up the square, right? If it says it's not going to allow you, it means you're on the wrong layer. Everyone there?
So basically what Mike is doing is he's setting up
your work box.
yeah, he's setting up like a stencil. Like if we were doing this in the real world, we'd be setting up a stencil where we can't actually paint outside of it and go outside of our masking. And that's the only reason we're doing it. And that's just so you can double check once you're drawing or painting the face, the correct proportions and the correct marks that you're going to try to make to try to see if anything's off. while you're checking it.
So I'm setting up a little box, so you're gonna be able to look at how close are you to one edge, how far away from you to the other edge. We're gonna utilize. I think you just said everything I'm saying, but here.
I'm not getting a very box.
So here we go. Down here, I is the eyedropper. Click. G is the paint bucket tool. Now you've got. This is the gradient tool. I know that because the paint bucket tool should be a little paint button. So come over here, switch paint bucket. Click.
It might be easier for us if you tell us the long version, because we're not going to remember the initials or whatever. So it might be easier until we get to know where we're doing, like what we're doing over here. I think it'd be easier for.
We'll go ahead and move over and click on the icons then. So my icons are set to my right here.
Until we get to know what we're
Yeah.
doing, to know.
So I'm gonna come over here and I'll be telling you where to go to click, all right?
Thank you.
And we'll also kind of reinforce that by I'll tell you brush tool, press B, come over here and click this. There's so many ways to do everything, so it can get really confusing really fast. And when I started out, I would get in situations where like one of these tools would be selected that I don't know what, and I'd be like, I don't know how to get this off, and now I just did that. I don't know, undo. And I would just close the document and start over. That's how I just like kind of figured it out myself. So if something like this happens, if you're at home and working, and you're like, well, I don't know what this is, go up here. Typically there's this little bar. Look, there's like a little circle, it says no, and this little checkbox says yes. So you just say, cancel current crop operation. Cancels it, right? Most of those tools have this bar up top, and it's different depending on the tool you've got. So if I press B, if we go over here to the brush, and when we select the brush, there's brush tool, pencil tool, color replacement tool, and mixer brush. We always want the brush tool. And if you're not getting the same, if I'm working over here, and if I'm working over here and you see me do this, and you're trying to copy, but your stuff's doing like this, and you're like, oh, it doesn't look the same at all. It's because you probably have the wrong tool selected, okay? So right here, the pencil tool is B, but the brush tool is B. They're all B. The way you cycle through those is by holding Shift in B, and you'll see it cycle through, right?
Or you can hold down, click, and hold down on the icon itself to bring up the options.
Yeah, so what I'm doing is clicking and holding for this to come up, in case you're wondering. So you click and hold for the menu to pop up. So we're going to always use the brush tool for this demo and for some of the future demos. I just made a mess on the canvas, so I'm going to select the gray by clicking over here, the eyedropper tool. It's at the very top, eyedropper tool. Click. Click the background gray. Let's go back to the brush tool. Click the brush tool. We'll come back. We're just going to color over. And we're only going to work on one layer for the rest of today's demo. You're not going to work on any other layers today. All right. So, go ahead and move your cursor up to Window. Right? Window, drop-down window will open up. And I want you to select Brush from the window. So it's the brush menu that we talked about in the first class. We're selecting Brush, and it's going to pop up this little menu right here, okay? And I'm going to run through and just make sure everyone's got the right brush selected. We're going to use one brush today, and it's going to be, if your menu looks different than mine, let me know, but I'll come by and make sure everyone's got the right one. Or Carl can help come by. Brush 93. And it's frozen. Hold on, my computer's frozen, I think.
There you
I'm not getting the brushes up.
Hold up. Oh, there it is. Okay. It's brush 93. Let me just run through and make sure we got all the same.
Oh, mine has numbers.
Yours is in numbers. Okay. You've got the basic brush that you didn't download, the one I sent you? It probably won't work actually because that guy, Chris said it wasn't working on his. Let me see your sound effect. I'm going to just set up a brush that's going to mimic what we're doing. So, what you want is. Where's my. Oh, your caps lock's not on. Yours is going to be a little smooth. Yours is not going to have the texture as ours can have, but we'll turn on noise. I'll give it a little bit of texture. And let's save the brush. Click here. Yes. Okay. So now, window, brushes. It's this one right at the bottom. I want you to I just use this. This is what you want. It's got a hard edge and kind of fades in the front. That's what I want. Okay. There, that's up. There you go. That's gonna be a similar one that we're gonna use. You got it? Charcoal pen?
You have to put these brushes in numerical order.
There's brushes. Here we go. Let me take a look at that. Click this 93 right there. That's the one. We're going to use that today. One above.
Is there a way to put these in numerical order? No.
Not in numerical order because they're arranged according to when you add the brushes to the list.
Yeah.
So you would have to go in and rename them and have them arrange them yourself and reset the which I can show you how to do if you want to.
All right. We're going to start now. No more menus, no more buttons. All we're going to do is use this brush tool. Go ahead and come over here. Click the eyedropper tool again. Sorry. I know I just said there's no more, but click the eyedropper tool. And just select Al Pacino's shirt. We want that dark color, okay? Everyone here? Everyone here? We're good? We're going to start moving a little faster now. All right. Let's go to the brush tool. Go back to the brush tool. So it should be the same brush. You should have a new dark color. You don't need to keep your brush really small. I want you to keep the brush, and the brush size is located right here at the top. If you click this top menu, you'll see this little drop menu here up here. Right here is the size, right? can adjust the size up and down. You don't want it too small. If you have it like tiny, that's not going to work for us. We want it right here in the mid-range. Maybe tiny bit smaller. Maybe like this, right? You see it's about as big as his nose. Are we all there? We're all good? Yeah? Yeah? You all good? Okay. Here we go. So, we're going to start slow. We're going to get going, though. We'll start by identifying the shapes in Al Pacino. I'm going to open up a new layer on my document so I can talk to you about what I'm thinking about and what you need to be thinking about. Okay. Christ. All right, here we go. So, we're going to identify some shapes real quick. We're going to start with this shape. Do you see what I've just outlined? We're going to recreate this shape directly here. All right? We're all only going to be thinking about that shape. Don't worry about his eyes. Don't worry about nose. Don't worry about the fact that he's a human being. Just think about that shape. It looks kind of like a funny looking house, right? It's almost like a weird slanted barn or something. That's the only thing I want you to think about. So I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to go, well, see, you didn't do what I just did, so I'm just going to get to where you are. We have the brush. We have this dark color selected. Just start brushing in on the canvas. And I've got something going on with my... Pardon me, I just got something funny going on with my brush. What is this? There we go. Sorry. I don't know what was going on there. Start blocking out the shape. And when I mean blocking out the shape, I mean just recreate that triangular shape. Right? Let's just really take a look at it. And we're going to take some notes here. And I say we, I mean just so you can just look up here. You don't actually switch over to take notes. So I want you to pay attention to this space here behind him and this space in front of him. All right? And you just need to make that match. You got to just translate that space, right? So, if you're over here on this layer and you're working, you're going to realize that like you might have messed up and you want to go back in and fix something. So remember, you can go to this eraser tool. No, I'm sorry, don't go to the eraser tool because it's going to erase your color behind you. Go to the eyedropper tool right here. Eyedropper tool. Click the background. All right. You can go to this little window here. See these two colors? Oops, sorry about that. See those two colors? Click this little arrow. It's really small, but you click those two colors. So you have your light gray and you have your white. Switch it so that your light gray is in the square behind your white. Come back, sample your dark color again. So now you have your background and your dark color on your foreground and your background boxes, right? And the reason I'm asking you to do that is so now you can work and press X to switch back and forth. So here we go. Yeah, so now let me take a look at it.
So how do I get, if I want to start over again, if I want to erase that?
So in this case, because I want y'all to just kind of, so we're just going to keep working on this. So like, instead of just erasing real quickly, well, just do this, right? So you're switching between the two colors. So if you mess up, you just cut in with the other color. So you're going to go back, you're going to keep pressing this button to kind of switch back and forth. So this is going to be like your eraser.
Right.
So, and since it's kind of small anyway, if you mess up, just like come back here and cut away. Right?
Right.
So now you have everyone set up with an X. All right.
See now, it's not erasing at all.
Press hard.
There you go. Yeah, pressure sensitivity.
Yeah, you can really press into it. I'm pressing pretty hard when I'm working. I'm pressing into it like it's a pencil on paper. Like I gotta really dig in. So, and if you don't like that, we can fix your settings in later. But there's a way to make sure that it feels more natural to you. It feels like you're pressing too hard. But these things they're real pretty tough. So you're gonna be able to dig in pretty hard. So everyone should have X queued up here. So we're gonna come in here and, like I said, we're gonna make this shape. And I'm just gonna sit here and hash it out and just make it look like it does below. So you're gonna notice there's a you're gonna notice that on this image here there's like this little bump on the shirt. It's like a wrinkle. And over here you got another little bump, another little wrinkle, right? So you got to add that in. Let's go back down and add that in. It's got a little thing going on here. It's right towards the top, so I'm going to just add this little bump in. If it doesn't look perfect, just cut in and fix it, right? If it doesn't look like it looks down below, fix it. Take your time, right? You don't need to rush this. For the sake of the class, we're going to keep moving forward, right? But when you're at home, if you go back and watch this again, or if you just want to follow along again at home, just take your time and get it down, right? Now we're really verging on to like just painting and drawing 101 here. It's the same thing if you have a picture of a person, a piece of paper. It's just about figuring out the spatial relationship, right? Just cut in, cut in, cut in, all right? Just going to fix that shoulder. There's a little bit of a straighter line right here, so I'm going to come in and create that. It's still a little off, but I'm going to go ahead and move on a little bit. All right. Is everyone here? Is everyone kind of there? All right. I know it's real. I'm just going to go a little slow, make sure everyone's catching up. We're going to go ahead and I want to go down to this this little, all the way down to the screen. There's a little trash can. And there's a little box. That's the new layer. Now I know I said we weren't going to use layers, but I just remember this is about digital painting, so we kind of need to use layers to show you why this is different from working on a real canvas, right? So it says a little, it says create new layers popped up right there. So I'm going to click that, and it's going to create a new layer for me, right? So you should have like 3 layers right now. You should have your layer you just worked on. You got a new layer. You can double click here on the word exactly, and it'll allow you to change the name. So you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it Owl's Head, because that's what we're going to use it for. Owl's Head. So you notice when we made that shape just now, if you messed up, you had to go back and kind of cut in with the pixels. You had to brush it back in, brush it back out, kind of like drawing on paper. You got to erase it and flip over your pencil and keep drawing. Now we're going to use a layer to work, right? So if our image is a little off, we can actually just use the arrow keys to move the head that we're going to draw, okay? So we're going to start. Everyone got this layer selected? This new layer, it should be blank. And you can name it whatever you want to name it. But let me open up a new, just take a look up top. I'm going to show you what we're going to do now. This is the thought process, right? So this is what you need to be thinking about. There's a big shape right here. It's like it's his hair and it's his head, right? So it's going to go all the way down this big shape goes all the way down and it connects to the layer we already did. And let me just show you. So I'm going to turn off Al Pacino real quick. You see the shape? It's like this weird, funny looking peninsula. Looks kind of like Italy, actually. Right? So, oh, and there's a little bit of hair right here on the other side of his head. So this shape is what we need to create now. It's another big shape, and it's the next biggest shape besides his face. And we're going to save the face kind of towards the end, because when we get into the face, you got to sit there and start doing the eyes and the nose. And we want to just block out the larger shapes first. I'm going to turn this off. And remember, this layer, this green layer is my thought process, and this is what you should be thinking about. Like, it's a weird looking head shape of a hair on top of his head. All right, kind of a hair shape on top of his head. Turn that off. So you should have your new layer called Owl's Head, whatever you named it. You should have your dark color still. And you can start creating that funny looking shape. It looked kind of like a peninsula. And if you're a little off, it's okay. Don't worry about that. Just go ahead and get that shape in first. And you can refine it a little later. But just get the shape in. All right. Let me, I can go and check on everyone too. All right, so you get that shape in. Okay, you're on the new layer. Oh, so, I know what you did. So you got this layer. Here, remove the pen from. Let's just do that one. So you must have filled the layer with white, so it covered everything up in accident. Let's just. There's your new layer. Now we'll go and name it head. Let's go head. And here, you know it too. If you real quick, some of the largest you can see is head here. So now start blocking in this hair. Just like a diagonal shape right now. Right. There you go. Like I said, yeah, it's a slow process. It's not. Once you get used to identifying those shapes, you'll be able to speed right along. But this is painting, right? Painting is different from drawing because drawing you use line. Painting, we're going to use blocks of tone or color. We'll come to color later, though, only because color throws off the values to the human eye. We'll go for about 15 more minutes. We'll take a quick break, okay? Yes.
If I still wanted to contain within the square,
And
can you ready to clip it to layer 2 or whatever?
you can do that, yes. You can clip it to layer 2. All right. We're about to start the next step. So now, we can go to this layer. We just started on layer head, Al Pacino's head layer, right? Click below. We're going to go back down to the layer below, all right? Now, like I said too, sorry, I'm going a little fast here. So, if you're on the hair and you realize that your hair is actually kind of off, right? If you painted it and it looks really, really far off from the drawing, because we started a new layer, you can use your arrow keys on your keyboard to nudge it up and down, right and left, right? And this is the benefit of digitally painting versus a regular painting. In regular paint, on a regular canvas, once you start painting, you got to just use a different color to kind of cut back into the shape. And if you're off or if you mess up, you kind of just are stuck there and you got to go back and fix it. But if your arrow keys aren't working, I just not thought about this. If your arrow keys aren't working, if you're like, what are you talking about? This isn't doing anything. It's because you have your brush tool selected. You have to press V or go up to this move tool. And I'm sorry, it's intuitive for me. So yeah, click that, and now you can use your arrow keys. Yeah, sorry about that. And I'll still do that. I'll forget that my thing's not selected, and I'll sit there and not sure what I'm doing, you know. All right. So the layers we've got going. Oh my God! Hold on, my cursor's acting up. The layers we have going are Al's head. We can rename this one. Double-clicking the name layer 2. You can rename it Al's body. Right? Just to start, or kind of keep some organization going on. Al's head, Al's body. And Al's body's also got his back. Remember, that's the one we started with. It's got the background in it. If we're going to go back down to Al's body, we can go over to the picture. We all good? Yeah? All right. So, we're going to go to the body picture. I'm going to come down to my photo, and the big thing we're seeing that we haven't added in yet, besides the fact that Al Pacino's in the picture, is this this shape right here, this big gray block. You see that? It's like a big grade, like it kind of like fades into gray, right here. So we don't have that yet. We need to add that in. This is the shape we're trying to add in. So you click on Al's body. We're just going to go down to the photo of Al Pacino. Click your eyedropper tool up here in the eyedropper menu. I can move a little closer too. There's eyedropper tool right here. It looks like this to y'all, right? So eyedropper tool. Click this background gray. Click your brush, or press B. What? It shouldn't matter what layer you're on. And you can. I mean, if you want to put the gray underneath the hair that you just drew, you can select the bottom layer. That's what we're trying to do. All right. Now go ahead and just start brushing in that gray. Right. The one thing you're going to notice is you're going to sit here and brush this gray, brush this gray, brush this gray. You could also go to this tool here. Go to the paint bucket tool. If you look up here on the screen, right on top of the paint bucket tool, I'm going to press with my cursor down, and I'm going to pull up a tool that's called the gradient tool. All right? I'm going to let go, and it's going to select my gradient tool. My gradient tool automatically selects the color I was just using and turns it into a gradient. So now you should have a little X, a little cross right here, it's like a crosshair. You can click and drag, and it's going to create like a faded gray. Now I click, we can go to edit, go up here to edit, undo gradient, to undo that. The way the gradient tool works is that you're going to click. The line represents the bulk of the pixels. Let go, and you've got the gray. Doesn't look quite where we need it to be, so I'm going to do it again. Let go. You're going to get the gray, right? You're going to just do a little bit of a fade, because that's kind of what's going on below. This is what's going on here. Let's go, click over here, hold that down, click this second one. There we go, so that's what you need. And let's go, let me use your cursor. Can you look at that? Just go right there. And here. Command Z. I think can't you like customize these things? On here, we'll talk about tablets later, but I have my Command Z set to my tablet, so I just work and click if I need to undo something. Just because it's like one of the main benefits of working digitally.
Can you tell me why it's showing up as white? Like, when I'm doing gradient, it's gone.
Oh, okay. So what that is on your owl's head,
Yeah,
over you're using the color from the background to erase.
yeah,
So technically, that's like the color, the background color that's like painted in, right?
okay.
So you can go up, press W for your. Oh, look, you got your.
Yeah,
Up here, yeah. Press W, click that, and you can go delete that.
oh, okay,
There you go. So now it's empty. All right, there you go.
okay.
That's what it was.
Okay.
Is everyone there? Is everyone here?
Here on this layer, have it set for
Yeah.
transparency.
Yeah.